This podcast presents concise summaries of each of the articles and columns in this issue of OCN in the order they appeared in the paper. For details, please refer to the articles and columns, which are posted at ocn.me. The Palmer Lake Board is pursuing a potential hearing on harassment charges against trustee Roger Mosley, with legal guidance from newly hired town attorney Kent Whitmer as part of a process language and hearing framework discussed in April meetings. An independent investigation found likely illegal harassment by Mosley toward a female employee and a resulting hostile work environment, with witnesses corroborating, though the board has not yet determined whether to hold a formal hearing or take action. The board approved a hearing option in principle and discussed codifying a due process disciplinary procedure, while noting limited legal precedents and weighing removal, censure, or other actions under state statutes. Mosley contested the process, suggested other options, and the board approved a motion for a hearing while debating the scope of authority and potential recusal from votes. Later, a separate ordinance framework was recommended to govern hearings for any town officer. Separately, the town appointed Kent Hudson to the Planning Commission, while other planning candidates faced votes and discussions. The mayor pro tem position was addressed with guidance to designate a pro tem at the next meeting. The town declared a water emergency due to a senior water right holder's call on Monument Creek, prompting potential changes to water use restrictions, while continuing to address Elephant Rock Mobile Home Park code and utility issues with multiple agencies involved. Buc-ee's EPCO LLC purchased the 53.4-acre parcel west of I-25 and south of County Line Road for more than $10 million from Monument Ridge West LLC. Colorado Division of Water Resources permits were issued for a Denver aquifer well and an Arapahoe aquifer well with a combined maximum output of 880,000 gallons per month or 28,000 gallons per day. Prior analysis estimated an average daily demand of 37,300 gallons with a maximum daily demand of 113,600 gallons. Monument Sanitation District has committed to providing sewer service to the parcel. Development plans for the parcel have not yet been submitted to El Paso County. The Monument Town Council approved the rezoning and final plat for a new 11,040 square foot fire training facility at 18650 West Highway 105, including an accompanying training tower. The project is expected to generate low traffic, with fewer than 100 vehicles per day during classes, and thus no roadway improvements or traffic impact study are needed. The council delayed action on the Alpine dealership's final plat and final PUD, pushing discussion to May 4 due to concerns over signage and building materials. A revised water restriction schedule was approved, effective April 7, with odd addresses watering on Mon, Wed, Friday, even addresses on Tuesday, Thursday, Sat, and no watering on Sundays. 2026 will run April 7 to October 30. The town adopted a new police impact fee schedule and approved a grant application for $250,000 to replace outdated land development and permitting software. The council announced an economic development agreement with Project Cobalt to create an estimated 135 new jobs, and noted ongoing stormwater planning work with the May 18 meeting to consider accepting the 2026 Stormwater Master Plan. A potential moratorium on all metal buildings is being considered by the town council to fix outdated and confusing design standards. The highly anticipated Carl Malone Powersports presentation was pulled after stern feedback from the April 6 town council meeting about the Alpine Buick project. The Planning Commission is reassessing rules due to concerns about large metal structures, prompted by council questions. A key issue is code nesting. Metal surface rules are buried in the industrial uses section and do not apply to commercial or retail projects, creating a loophole. The 20,000 square foot rule is unclear. It prohibits metal as a primary exterior surface visible from public streets or trails, but primary exterior surface lacks a precise definition. Commissioners must submit questions by April 22 to inform a formal memo for the next joint workshop with the town council, aiming to guide a clear, community-driven standard for development. MA held a candidate forum with 2 applicants for 2 board vacancies with upcoming elections set for April 27 to May 1, and results to be announced May 7. Candidates Joe Fantacone and Adam Fisher expressed commitment to MA's mission, transparency, parental involvement, and a desire to steward the school's culture without major changes to policies or curriculum. The board unanimously approved one-time bonuses for home school enrichment staff, a $2,500 summer stipend for HSE staff, and a new HSE coordinator position, along with staff engagement letters and an unchanged 2026-27 staff handbook. First reads were presented for changes to MA bylaws to enable a parent-initiated board recall and for a standing mission advisory committee. The board will collect community feedback on these policy changes via the MA board site, with updated versions to be voted on at the May meeting. Uncertainties remain regarding specifics of the upcoming School Finance Act details, potential adjustments after its release, and the exact language of the recall and MAC provisions. The Lewis Palmer D38 PCAC discussed bylaws, term limits, leadership rotation, and a proposed public feedback subcommittee, with votes to occur at the May meeting. Members debated making membership more dynamic, including separating public and member lists and notifying the public in advance of meeting topics and locations. The district stresses the PCAC's value as a rapid, accurate feedback source to the Board of Education. A staff survey highlighted 3 low-scoring areas: district resource allocation, open and honest communication culture, and progress toward a culture of success for employees. Responses included ideas for non-monetary rewards. Subcommittees reported on finances, benefits, and special education, including potential joining of the Colorado Benefits Trust to cut health costs and the Alirum Day program recognizing individuals aiding students with disabilities. Prairie Winds Elementary School Principal Kimberly Runyon gave a presentation about her school's history and activities. The district is finalizing the 2026-27 budget amid an expected ongoing per-pupil operating revenue funding holdup, with enrollment declines anticipated to reduce operating revenue by about $1.8 million while Monument Academy gains about $120,000. A proposed budget submission is due at the May board meeting. Compensation is planned to rise, with an average 2.06% increase across about 770 planned regular employees, down from 803, prioritizing smaller raises for higher earners and step increases for administrators. Total compensation increases are projected around $813,000. The district currently ranks 14th of 16 in compensation relative to nearby districts, and the district projects issuing employment contracts in early May. New English language arts materials, into literature for grades 6 to 10, were reviewed publicly, April 1st to 14th, and are proposed for board approval in May, including digital access and teacher training components. Transportation fees were set at $300 for an annual pass for 2026-27, up from $275 this year, with special education transportation legally required and free/reduced lunch students transported at no cost. District transportation serves about 20 to 25% of students. A master capital list with a $2.5 million budget identifies 39 priority issues from 75 submissions, 17 proposals were funded, and a Prairie Winds elementary security project was discussed but not funded, to be revisited in a future session. At a special meeting March 27, the DWSD board selected John Quasman as general manager at a salary of $190,000. After interviewing 4 finalists, Christina Hawker was named deputy general manager and chief financial officer at $175,000. During the April 16 regular meeting, experts outlined renewable water rights, exchange opportunities for water source strategies, and loop water reuse project implications for user rates. Water exchanges could convert stranded renewable water into usable supply, connecting 4 exchange to sites with 5 exchange from sites to reduce reliance on CSU and improve sustainability. 4 water source strategies were presented: 0. Greater groundwater reliance with high long-term cost, 1. More CSU-provided water with continued groundwater use, 2. Loop water reuse participation, and 3. Full use of water exchanges. Northern Monument Creek Interceptor, NMCI, participation was also discussed as an option. Practical implications include rate and debt effects through 2027 to 2035. Scenario 1, loop with Upper Monument Creek Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility alone, adds about $3.8 million in annual debt service. Scenario 2, loop with NMCI, adds about $4.7 million, with higher early rate increases but lower annual operating costs. The WWSD board approved a letter of engagement with SL Environmental Law Group to pursue recovery of PFAS mitigation costs under a potential 3M and DuPont settlement, which could provide up to $12.5 billion for affected public water systems. It was confirmed that WWSD well water tests show no PFAS, but PFAS is present in Fountain Creek and will require treatment for water from Woodmoor Ranch when routed through the Loop project. The board authorized a contract for Well 12R site work with Gordon Construction for $270,000, following a low bid of $238,000 and contingencies added. WWSD entered a 2016 to 2026 water lease with AGRA for Woodmoor Ranch water at $135 per acre-foot, potentially delivering up to 1,500 acre-feet and $100,000 to $200,000, with flexibility on the amount of water provided. The county bought a small land parcel and a 5,000 square foot easement for roadway and drainage improvements, with the sale approved unanimously. An amended lease with Apollo's Park Solar LLC was authorized to ensure continued rent and proper transfer from Enerfin Renewables LLC, while the Loop project public outreach and district financials dominated discussion, ending with an executive session. The Monument Sanitation District Board unanimously approved the petition to include a 10-acre property west of I-25 into its service area, after an engineering study found existing infrastructure sufficient. The inclusion petition, filed by Monument Ridge West LLC, pertains to inclusion, not annexation, and requires MRW to install a wastewater pipeline along Beacon Light Road before El Paso County completes its road project. The board noted the pipeline installation is needed to convey wastewater from the site to MSD's sewer lines, with coordination on final plans and budgeting underway with MRW's contractor. The district approved minor changes to the employee handbook, specifically correcting hours of work and paid time off policies. The El Paso County Regional Loop Water Authority awarded design contracts for two major loop portions, selecting JVA Incorporated to finish the pipeline and pump design begun by Burns and McDonnell, while CDM Smith continues work on expanding the Callahan Reservoir. Burns and McDonnell had brought 28 miles of pipeline and 5 pump stations to 30% completion. JVA's proposal will complete the remaining design work, per board guidance from President Jesse Schaefer. An ARPA deadline extension was approved, extending the expenditure deadline from June to September 2026, easing time pressure on the loop to spend about $1.3 million of the $4 million ARPA funds. The loop reported ongoing project updates. Merrick and Company reviewed Callahan Reservoir expansion design. Western States Land Services LLC finished surveys for southern and northern alignments. Central alignment surveys are ongoing with some landowners delaying easement negotiations. The board received March invoices total of $253,000 for payment and noted BOCC reimbursement of Q4 2025 expenses, with cash reserves at $595,000 at the end of March. An employee handbook was presented as the Loop moves toward hiring its first employee, an executive director, with the handbook ensuring compliance with the Family Medical Leave Act. The board will vote on it at the next meeting. The Triview Metropolitan District approved funding for the Northern Monument Creek Interceptor (NMCI) project with proposed bonds not to exceed $35 million, interest capped at 5.75%, and backloaded payments from 2028 to 2056. The NMCI project is a 10.1-mile pipeline to transport untreated wastewater to CSU's facility, with a 99-year treatment contract and district ownership in the pipeline, enabling bond financing from the Enterprise Fund. Voter approval is not required. The 2026 budget was amended to reflect NMCI-related costs, Higbee Road construction acceleration, a delayed administrative/utility building completion, and additional revenues from NMCI bonds and Meritage home tap fees. The district will share debt service for NMCI. Forest Lakes Metro District contributes about 20%, while Triview covers about 80%. NMCI remains the largest anticipated construction cost at roughly $33 million. Water operations face limited supplies. The region's spring runoff was the lowest on record, and some priority water rights cannot be used. The district has 600 acre-feet available and relies on complex exchanges, with the northern delivery system producing 57% of March's supply. Higbee Road work continues with Kiewit installing curbs and gutters. A new ADA-compliant Venison Creek Park play area is complete with a ribbon-cutting planned for June 5. The Monument Fire District has approval to move forward with the Station 1 Training Center 4-story tower, with site grading to begin and the tower expected in place by late September or early October, enabling training to start in November. The rebuild of Fire Station 3, located at 17320 Jackson Creek Parkway, has begun and is projected to take about 1 year to complete. An executive session was held to discuss candidates for the fire chief position, indicating ongoing recruitment for the district's top leadership. Monument Fire District urges residents to prepare for wildfire with a ready-set-go mindset and practical steps, including obtaining a free Wildland Fire Action Guide, which outlines no-cost and low-cost strategies to harden structures and reduce fuel around homes to lower burn risk from embers and sparks. Fire officials noted the hardest task is defending houses with heavy fuel and access challenges, emphasizing easier access and fuel reduction to improve firefighting chances. Sign up for peakalerts.org for reverse 9/11 emergency notifications, and use Community Connect to securely share critical details with firefighters en route to a call. For neighborhoods wanting fuel reduction, Monument Fire District invites inquiries about joining the existing 30-plus HOAs in the /chipping program. The BOCC approved a final plat for a 5-lot Red Rock Acres subdivision west of Highway 105, with all required studies and reports accepted, including water sufficiency, drainage, and traffic impact analyses. The highway project on Highway 105 is advancing eastward, with the BOCC already authorized to purchase and hold real estate and personal property for the county's capital projects related to this widening effort being done in coordination with the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority. The Willow Springs Town of Monument Annexation Impact Report was acknowledged, noting about 39.6 acres west of Willow Ranch Road and north of Forest Lakes Drive could be annexed in the future. No action was required at this time. The Monument Planning Commission will review the annexation proposal on April 8 and the Monument Town Council on May 4. Volunteers Dawn Roney and Cindy Thrush are actively developing safe routes to school, SRTS, connected walking trails in Woodmoor, including a bridge crossing the Woodmoor Lake Spillway, with ongoing coordination to keep the board informed and ensure safety. They began marking informal trails with blue flags, engaged neighbors in cleanup and trash pickup, and worked to connect trails to the commons area, framing their efforts around the SRTS project involving D38, WIA, and Woodmoor Water and Sanitation District. The board emphasized the need for close cooperation with Commons Area Director Steve Cutler to assess trail work for potential board involvement and to maintain safety and management of trails and common areas. Financial and administrative updates. New phone system is being pursued from reserve funds. Revenues are on track except for new construction fees. Liens will be placed by May 15 with a $300 fee. 301 accounts are unpaid. Covenants and safety notes. 31 covenant items in March with 2 violations issued, 25 issues resolved through friendly communication. Architectural control shows a 98.6% project approval rate, no significant public safety issues though high fire danger days noted. Forestry and common areas. 3 forestry/firewise visits completed, grant funds remain ample, chipping dates set for June 20 and 21 and July 18 and 19, and water conservation encouraged. Letter writer Gordon Reichel notes that the Front Range Railroad Colorado Connector, COCO, plans a new passenger link from Fort Collins to Pueblo. The project would require public funding or contributions for construction and is marketed as connecting cities, workers, families, and visitors on the Front Range. However, no stops are planned in Palmer Lake or Monument. Furthermore, the proposal is expected to disrupt traffic through Palmer Lake and Monument and potentially increase sound, light, and air pollution across nearby communities. May is highlighted as a time of graduations and new beginnings, marking a shift from safety to life beyond school. The list features a mix of new and classic titles offering guidance for grads, parents, and those advising them. Works include 50 life lessons for grads, The 4 Agreements, Atomic Habits, All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, Stuff Every Adult Should Know, Carpe Every Diem, The Alchemist, and Oh, The Places You'll Go. The article notes practical themes: personal growth, self-care for college-bound grads, habit formation, everyday skills, and finding purpose through literature. The descriptions emphasize the book's aims to address stress, uncertainty, and real-life challenges graduates may face. The Pikes Peak Library District will host a hybrid library concept discussion with CEO Tiona Shainids-Krebs at Palmer Lake Town Hall from 5:30 to 7 p.m. on Wednesday, May 6, with registration required at ppld.org. Regular programs at Monument Library include Storytime on Tuesdays, Socrates Cafe, Pause to Read, and Toddler Time, with specific times noted for each. A series of teen and youth events are scheduled, including Teen Craft Group on May 4 and 18, Teen Advisory Board on May 14, and a Dungeons & Dragons group on May 16. Some registrations are required. The library will offer a device drop-in on May 7 and May 21 to help with devices and the catalog, with no registration needed. All Pikes Peak Library facilities will be closed for Memorial Day on Monday, May 25, and will reopen on Monday, June 5 at 11 a.m. At the Palmer Lake Historical Society monthly meeting April 16, Wesley Brown explored how Pike, Long, and Spanish expeditions put Colorado on the map, highlighting pre-map Old West exploration. Brown's presentation covered Zebulon Pike's 1806 expedition into Spanish territory toward Santa Fe, his failed Pikes Peak climb, and his 1807 capture and release, followed by his eventual map publishing. The talk emphasized that Pike's published maps emerged after the expedition, contributing to early geographic knowledge of the region. Next month's program, Trails to Interstate Transportation Systems Across the Palmer Divide, will be presented by Lee Whitley on May 21, tracing how interstate routes followed Native American and wagon trails. The 2025 Aerial Detection Surveys, ADS, for Colorado are available to the public, with results shown on a zoomable online map highlighting mountain pine beetle faders from 2025 surveys overlaid on 2022-24 base maps. The red and gold indicators on the map reflect where faders, yellow-brown trees, were noted in the July-August 2025 ADS, stemming from beetle activity that began with eggs laid in 2024. Health reports align with the faders and flights of 2025, not with the 2024 egg-laying period, and trees that will fade in 2026 may still appear green or yellow in May 2026. There is potential for earlier than usual beetle emergence this year due to extended growing seasons and a mild winter with high early spring temperatures, with some adults emerging months ahead of typical midsummer timing. The map shows isolated fader mortality in the National Forest northwest of Monument and north of the Black Forest burn scar, while the southeastern Black Forest area exhibits significant 2022-24 and 2025 fader mortality, covering hundreds of acres of dead trees. Property owners are advised to remove infested trees before mid-June in the Tri-Lakes/Black Forest area to mitigate a larger fader outbreak next year. The article urges deep mulching in drought conditions to protect soil moisture, cool roots, and reduce plant stress as part of ecological and personal health stewardship. A local firefighter recommends a deep 6 to 8 inch mulch layer for garden health and fire safety, helping suppress weeds and keep the ground green from the bottom up. Fire mitigation guidance includes keeping a 5-foot clearance around the home, using non-combustible materials in Zone 1, removing mulch under decks, and annually raking out duff to prevent ignition. The Black Forest/program near Shoup and Herring Roads offers free mulch. Details are available at https://bf/.org. The article says fractal patterns in nature, seen in pine branches and leaf veins, can trigger a biological resonance that reduces cortisol levels by up to 60% when viewed in art. This cortisol reduction shifts the body from survival mode to repair, lowering blood pressure, boosting the immune system, and clearing mental fog for restorative awe. The author describes the two-legged stride in art, using non-traditional tools like pine branches and squeegees to create textures that carry the voice of nature into the work. Marks made with natural tools are said to deliver a restorative, marinating texture to the eye, contrasting with flat, mechanical surfaces bringing outdoor ethnoecology into interior spaces. The Monument Art Hop in historic downtown Monument is held from 5 to 8 p.m. on the third Thursdays May through September. El Paso County now offers a property protection program to alert owners of filings using their name, aiming to prevent fraudulent deed transfers and real estate scams. The program monitors filings made after enrollment and allows registration of multiple name variations and household members, with in-person record reviews available at the county clerk and recorder's office. Other notices include a Black Forest mulch program with details available at https://bf/.org. June 8 is the deadline to postmark, deliver, or present objections to real property valuations or classifications to the county assessor's office. Online filing is available. Practical safety and preparedness items are presented including wildfire preparation resources from the Colorado State Forest Service and coyote safety tips for residents and pets. Thank you for joining us for highlights from the articles and columns from this issue of OCN. To dive into the full articles and columns or explore more content, visit ocn.me. Don't miss out, sign up for our community newsletter to stay updated with every new post.